Welcome to the Hogs Die, Tuesday, October 11th, as of this recording. Got a little soiree with the Eagles coming up this weekend. We've come out on top of our last 3 soirees with them, so hopefully this soiree ends up just as good. And what's that I hear? An interview with USA Today's Lake Lewis? You can't miss that. Soiree, soiree, soiree. It's the Hogs Die. Don't go away.
Welcome to the Hogs Die with your crew, Alex Zeese, Steve Thomas, and Robbie Duncan. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the old Hogs Die. My name's Sean. I got Mr. Alex Zeese here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Mr. Steve Thomas on deck.
I'm just curious whether we all can define the word soiree for the audience.
I mean, it's a party, right?
It's an elegant dinner party.
So I'm hoping the game isn't going to be an elegant dinner. I'd rather it be a violent, dirty party, not an elegant dinner party.
Wait. We don't need a violent, dirty party here. We're just talking football here.
Yeah. See, is that the kind of soiree you go to, Robbie Duncan? I don't think so.
Oh, no. I like this kind of soiree. Nice and chill and just, talking sports.
Yes.
Exactly. There you go. We got a soiree going on here.
I don't think you want a shindig if
I was
they're
meaning
Eagles fans
literal.
around. That, they bring knives.
But
Hey,
just
you're
for the record, I was meaning literal dirt, not moral dirt.
Oh,
we got
sure.
Steve,
Right on.
Steve wants to be in the mud pit.
Because that's me. I'm a mud pit kind of type of person.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What does this show come to?
I don't know.
Well, let's
we'll
get
go
into
with the
this.
Old school.
Yeah. Let's get into this little soiree we got going on here today, guys. So we got the Eagles coming up on deck. We fared pretty well against them our last few matchups, but I think they're coming with a stouter defense. So, guys, what do you foresee in this one?
This one's going to be a battle. It's going to be, I think, nitty-gritty, tooth and nail type battle. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't see a very glamorous game again.
Well, it's the Eagles have only played have already had their bye. They've only played 4 games, and so you can't look at their total number of yards, total accumulating stats because they're not accurate.
Right.
But let me throw some numbers out at you guys that may be relevant. We'll start with Eagles defense. They're 8th in the NFL in yards per play, 12th in passing yards per attempt, 12th in rushing yards per attempt. 14 sacks in only 4 games, which is good for second in the NFL, even minus the game that they haven't played. So I think their defense is for real to one extent or another. But again, like the Ravens, I'm not sure that we've seen enough to establish them conclusively as one of the top elite defenses in the league. I don't know if we know that yet. They did play the Steelers and they beat the Steelers down, but I think you can kind of chalk that up to the Steelers laying an egg to a certain extent.
Let's look at who else they've played, though. I mean, they played Browns week 1,
Right.
and then they played the lowly Bears after that week 2.
Yep.
And then they followed that with the Steelers win, which was impressive, but that's just one really good game. And then their bye week, and then they lost to the Lions, who's not that special either.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's really hard to tell what this Eagles team is.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're exactly right.
By no means
ahead,
are those
sorry.
3 resounding wins. It's one really good win, and 2 teams that we've already beaten one, we will beat the other. I feel fairly confident in saying that about when we play the Bears. Yeah, I'm a little more worried about this game, though, guys, because I look at this Eagles team much closer to the teams we struggled against, like the Steelers. I look at them a little bit more like the Steelers or the Cowboys, where they do have this very good offense, a decent enough defense. Like you said, they're probably not elite. They put up some impressive stats here and there, but I'm a little more nervous about this game.
Well, I mean, it's always going to be a battle, right? I
Right.
mean, these NFC East games, Redskins, Eagles, it's not going to be, no team's going to roll over and die. But I
We're
think
only
that,
slight underdogs in this game. I will have you guys know.
well, we're
Yeah.
2-point
Really?
dogs. We're
At
2-point dogs, but it's at home, which means
Yeah, that's
Vegas
fair.
thinks they're about 5 points better. If you kind of go by the standard parlance. But my point here is I don't see any particular strength and I don't see any particular weakness in the Eagles' defense so far. I think if we just sort of play Redskins football, which is the short passing game,
Mhm.
the occasional deep. I think if we just do what we do on offense, that's probably our best chance to win. I'm not sure we need to get especially creative against these guys. I don't
Right.
know if we're going to be able to run the ball any better. Probably not, than we have. So I think we're going to see more of the same. High number of pass attempts by Kirk, lots of short passes, move the ball down the field.
Well, let's look at their offense, at least more specifically their offensive line. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Lane Johnson's suspension has been upheld as of today.
Right.
So he's going to be pretty much out for pretty much the whole season, or at least for our 2 games. So now we got Alan Barber. I think it's how you pronounce his last name. It's Barbre. Would be Barber. But
Maybe French for something else,
yeah.
but we'll call him Barber.
Barber. But then
He
apparently
gets the
they're-
Ellis Island treatment. He's a fucking barber.
But they're apparently looking into starting their rookie right tackle. Good Lord, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name. Hala Paloviati Vitae.
Spell that
Hal
way, right?
Vitae?
Hala,
Just call him Hal.
Yeah.
Hal Vitae.
Alright.
We have Barber and Hal Vitae, folks.
Oh man, that was not very
Butchered
culturally.
the Eagles' offensive
Yeah.
line.
Well, I'm
That's
sorry.
all
The guy.
I
he's
hope our
got a really
defensive
long
line does it
Samoan
too.
name. He's got a really long Samoan name, but they're going to be starting apparently
Right.
this rookie right tackle. So that's going to be a weak link that we should really try to take advantage of against this offense, because I mean, as good as Carson Wentz has been, you have to pressure a rookie like him to
Right.
really get him off his groove that he's been on.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about Carson Wentz, shall we? Because
I was going to say the same thing.
I mean, because since you brought it up, he's been the toast of Philadelphia. I printed a story today, not because I care what the Eagles writer says, but because the headline I think just says it all. And this is by Mark Sessler, but he's quoting Brian Baldinger, who, while he's a national writer, he's based in Philadelphia. He's an Eagle. He's an Eagles homer. He does a radio station in Philadelphia. Here's the title: Wentz is Manning pre-snap, Rodgers post-snap. So this guy,
Wow.
Yeah, that's
this guy has, and this is from
That's a
couple
man
weeks ago.
crush.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this isn't even current. This is from a couple weeks ago. And so they had just seen him barely play, and all of a sudden they're calling him Manning and Manning
that's
and
the
Rodgers.
definition of a Philadelphia sports fan for you too.
As a result of that,
yeah,
I went back and I watched every single passing snap that Carson Wentz has played in the pros so far,
Mhm.
weeks 1
Oh,
through
you
5.
you would, Steve.
Well, and here's what I saw. This guy loves his checkdowns, loves his flat passes. He's a pretty good quarterback. I got to hand it to him. He loves the flat passes to the running back. Loves out passes in the flats, which is different than the flat passes. He's a short passing guy. He doesn't go deep a lot. He loves the shallow middle to the tight ends quite a bit. He's pretty accurate in that range. That's why his completion percentage is so high, because he's run a lot of those patterns. He doesn't have the greatest deep ball in the world. I know the scouting reports out of college said he did, but I wasn't that impressed. He missed a lot of deep balls. He floated passes. They were high. They were long. I wasn't too impressed with his deep ball. He relies a lot on Yak, getting stuff to Sproles. Robbie, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that you're talking about floating on the deep ball. That's why he threw that pick, against the Lions last week.
right.
Against Darius Slay got it because that ball was just floating up there, and he was able to just catch it like a receiver would. He wasn't even any effort.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He just doesn't throw the ball very often more than about 10 to 12 yards in the air. Very rarely. This team makes a living on these flat passes. And what I mean by flat passes, for anybody that doesn't understand, it's usually running back, but it can be a receiver will not cross the line of scrimmage.
Putting receivers in the flats last year.
Well, the flats is not the same as a flat pass. The flats is the area right in front of the line of scrimmage that's a box from the edge of the line of scrimmage out to about 10 yards or so, 10, 15 yards to the sideline. That's the flats. A flat pass is when the quarterback will pass the ball directly over to the side, to close to the sideline. And the ball is across the line of scrimmage. That's the difference.
And for further context for the people listening at home, I think basically what Steve and Robbie are saying here to us is that exactly what they do well, we can't cover. We can't stop the run. We can't cover the tight end. Everything that plays to their strengths as an offense kind of plays to our weakness as a defense.
When he's very accurate with this stuff. He's not missing these balls, too many of these balls. What he's missing are the deeper balls. I also really notice he's very, very athletic. This guy is 6'5", very athletic.
That's going to be a problem for us.
Very mobile. He moves well in the pocket. He can extend plays, but when he loses his accuracy is when he tries to extend and he rolls out and his accuracy falls apart.
Interesting.
So he can extend, but it's not always a successful result.
That's unusual. Most young quarterbacks have more or less trouble when they roll out because it opens up the field for them.
Yeah.
He just kind of starts chucking it down the field, when he's moving. Honestly, that's what I saw at least. I'm no quarterback, Svengali, but these are just my observations. He did occasionally stare down his receivers on the short throws. It's like he knows his hot read is here and he's just going to do it. Period. That's a typical rookie thing too.
Well, sure. if he's spotty with his deep balls, then I'd like to see us, to pretty much just run cover 3 the entire game unless he starts beating us deep. I mean, if he's going to keep throwing these shallow routes and short routes, we need that extra body, in the middle with our safety to be there to help stop it or prevent it. If he takes a shot deep, we got Josh Norman jumping for the ball, Quentin Dunbar, assuming that Breland is healthy, then we'll have Breland in there too.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing we got to make sure we're doing then, if he's really into these, flat routes that you were talking about, is we really got to make sure guys on the edge of the line are looking for that player. Making sure that they're seeing if a running back's going out there, or fullback, or even the tight end, or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and don't forget that they got Darren Sproles, who's a very dangerous guy, and so a lot of these balls are going to Sproles. And Sproles has a history of killing everybody on plays like that. I mean, he had completions where, it's a flat pass or it's it's a little flare out, about a 3-yard flare out, and Sproles runs for 40 yards.
Yeah, well,
and here's another interesting stat I have for you on since we're talking Wentz.
Sure. And I'll just say also, while you're looking that up, this is a staple of Andy Reid's offense that we had to deal with for years with Westbrook and Deuce Staley. This, receiving running back who would just get out there in those little spaces where no one's covering them. We saw it for decades with Andy Reid. It makes sense that they're going back to this now with Andy Reid's protege as their head coach.
Okay, here's the interesting stat. This is what I think will describe what I'm talking about. Wentz on the season has got 1,007 yards, which is in 4 games, which is a decent amount of yardage for a rookie quarterback. But he's got 462 yards in the air, which is 30th in the NFL. And his percentage of air yards is only 45.9, which is 40th in the NFL. So that sort of confirms what I saw when I watched the tape, which is the guy doesn't go downfield a lot. So I think, Rob, you're absolutely right. I think you bring the strong safety up, use him to guard against the run, dare him to beat us deep. Dare Carson Wentz to beat us deep, because I think that's our best shot. Because it's not to say he's not going to get there at some point, but he's just not really there yet. He's clearly a rookie quarterback.
Right.
They're just scheming for him properly.
Just for our listeners, we are waiting, standing by for Lake Lewis to call in. When he does, we are probably going to get right to him. We're going to kind of do this live on the show because that's how the timing's going to work out tonight.
Bill O'Reilly style.
Yeah, doing it live.
Yeah, aren't you guys lucky at home to be hearing these
you might hear
backstage
some behind-the-scenes production.
Nothing like what Donald Trump says backstage. So trust me, no locker room banter. I promise.
None.
Usually we're winging it. Just you guys don't know we're winging it. That's all.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. Okay. Well, anyway, that was. I don't know if anybody else has anything else on Wentz. Those are my thoughts on Wentz.
Just that he's kicking ass. I mean, what more do you need to say? People are having wet dreams about him. He's kicking ass. Yeah. You have your hotshot rookie. Good for you.
Yeah.
Just remember, Manning pre-snap, Rodgers post-snap.
That's what they
Take
say.
that and
Poetry, Steve.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
I mean, they're 4 games in.
I'm like the dude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk.
I hate the Eagles, man.
Yeah.
You want to talk some Redskins defense since we're talking Eagles offense? Since we're waiting
Not really,
here?
because it's always depressing.
Well, I don't know, but we probably should cover offense more. I feel like we cover. I don't know. I feel like we got
We kind of glazed
defensive
over offense.
Yeah, the offense is more important because the defensive prognosis is not good, folks. I think the thing to take from that is they like throwing to the tight end and they like throwing short, and that's what we can't really cover. But we can
They
shove
do
them down
have
deep, which
decent-
they don't like to do anyway.
Right.
We're gonna have
They
to
do
force
have a decent
turnovers.
receiver or two in Matthew. Jordan Matthews is a good receiver. I mean,
And
it's not like they
tall.
don't have weapons.
And
No,
a
of
tall
course
Right.
target and Dorial Green Beckham too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, they have.
And it's not even like their tight end lineup is that impressive either. You know, it's just I guess that's
Well, Brent
sort of
Selleck is a decent, solid tight
And
end.
he's been there
Zach
for a
Ertz.
long
Starting
time
guy,
now,
though,
feels
is he?
like.
It's Ertz is the guy now.
Zach
right?
Zach Ertz is the guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Selleck's
that's
not too. So, but anyways, let's talk a little more Kirk because I feel like we didn't talk much about
Let's
Kirk.
just-
I feel like.
Let's just go offense. Okay. We are 13th in points now after 5 games, 115
Heyo.
points scored.
It's not terrible.
10th in, yeah, it's not terrible. It's not great considering we were hoping to have an explosive offense.
Right.
The low point total in the Ravens game hurt us in that regard, if you're going to follow that stat. 10th in total yards, 6th in passing yards, 24th in rushing yards, 12th in passing yards, 6th in passing yards. I'm sorry, I messed it up. 6th in passing yards, 12th in passing yards per attempt. So from a passing perspective, we're doing okay. Kirk is holding steady at a 90.5 quarterback rating, which is good for the almost exact middle. He's 15th in the NFL in that stat, which,
There you go.
quite frankly, is about where he probably fits. The fans have had tons and tons of issues with Kirk this week, so I'm just
Right.
curious what you guys think about where Kirk Cousins is after Game 5.
He's still missing great opportunities. I saw a clip posted online earlier today. Paul Connor from Scout.com. He covers Redskins stuff too.
Right.
He tweeted a clip of Kirk. He threw this out route to Crowder, but if he had looked at Jordan Reed, who he normally stares down, he had Jordan Reed wide open across the middle on like a skinny post, which would have been a huge gain, if not something better. There's still tons of stuff that he's missing that's very disappointing and kind of holding the offense back, so to speak.
Yeah, tons. We've talked about it every week, man. It's just like such consistent inconsistency.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Rick Snyder put out an interesting thought this way. Our friend of the show, Rick Snyder, writer for the Washington Post Express, he proposed today that maybe Kirk is pressing this year because there's so many targets and he's having trouble making sure all the mouths are fed, so to speak.
He can't worry about that.
No.
That's reaching, in my opinion. You can't worry about that. You just gotta run the offense. Go through your progressions, hit the open guy, make somebody open by the timing of your throw, all that stuff. Don't worry about if Deshaun Jackson's not getting his catches. I mean, you take what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I told you
absolutely.
guys-
Well, I just want to say, Steve, because that brings up an interesting point. I mean, because Robbie's absolutely right, but think about it like this. If you have that many weapons that are that good, I mean, Kirk's obviously shown in the past that he's the kind of guy to kind of lock in on a receiver and then kind of make it or break it with that play. And I think he's kind of floated that far. But with so many options, maybe he's going through more reads than he's used to doing. And yeah, maybe it's just kind of turning his head into a clusterfuck. I mean, I don't know. I think there might be a slim point to that. But I think Robbie's absolutely right.
Yeah.
He needs to get out of his own head, if that's the case.
I said this on the last show. I tend to think that maybe we're just seeing the real Kirk Cousins.
You could be right about that. Absolutely.
I mean, he made, he went on the great run, and I'm glad we did last year. But maybe this is who he is. He's a solid starter who's going to make some mistakes. He's got a decent arm, not a good arm. I mean, Kean Fahey, our friend, thinks he's got a terrible arm. I don't think it's that bad. Maybe this is just who he is. After at some point, this is year 5 for him. At some point at some point, you got to stop calling him a young and experienced quarterback.
Right. I mean,
he's
stop making that. 30 games so far. He's a 14-16 record as a quarterback, which isn't all fair to put on a QB, but still.
Right.
No, you know what? Here's the thing. He hasn't been great, but you can't look at him and say he's been the worst quarterback out there either. I mean, he's had down games, but I feel like this week we overcame a bad game for him. Can he make the plays? Yes, I think he can throw any ball. Can he do it with finesse and velocity every time? No. I think he's got an arm that can throw every pass. Guys, we have the call coming in right now.
Oh, here we go. All right. Well, tonight's guest, Lake Lewis, kind of runs the gamut of Redskins / sports reporting. He's been a radio guy. He's the CEO over at sportsjourney.com. That's basically a Redskins media channel on steroids with articles, reports, podcasts. Check it out. Additionally, he's a sports media group Redskins Wire editor over at USA Today. No big deal. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Lake Lewis. Welcome to the show, Lake.
Hey, how you guys doing? I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. So glad to have you. Well, we will get right into it because we are so happy to have you. We got to ask you up front, man, because this is kind of the crazy story today. Can you tell us what's going on with Sua Cravens? Does he have permanent eye damage? Did he get a concussion? I mean, what's going on with that? Do you have the insider scoop?
Yeah, I'm just hearing that it's a concussion and they're going to, more precautionary measures to get him checked, make sure that there is no, eye damage or anything like that. Yeah, I know a lot of players get these concussions, and it's more prevalent now because it's being watched more. And, one of the symptoms of that, the light in your eye and things of that nature. So I think right now it's too early to say if it's something really bad, but I suspect he'll be fine. Now, I haven't heard from any other guys, from off the record that, he could, in a week or two not even be back out on the field. So I expect for him to not play this weekend, of course, but I think he'll be back the following weekend when they go to Detroit.
Okay.
Well, let's take a little bit a broader view here. We're 3-2 on the season. We've had a couple good. We've had a win streak here. 3 in a row. But at the same time, the team clearly has some flaws. Is the team meeting the expectations of the coaching staff and of Scott McGloin and his rebuilding plan?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think you have to look at this team and realize it's a different group from last year across the board. Maybe not offensively, but on defense, you have different linemen that you didn't have last year. Cullen Jenkins is one of them. You have Ioannidis, a kid that ultimately had cut and put on practice. Now he's back in. So it's just a different group of guys. Mason Foster, Will Compton at linebacker, those guys gelled later in the season last year. So, now you're seeing them, playing together. You mix in Cravens, and then we haven't talked about, the secondary, which has been ravaged by injury. So it's almost a different person week in and week out. And in fairness to Joe Barry, who I've been critical of as far as some of the play calling that he has, this defense has held the fort in the fourth quarter. The last 3 games, they haven't been scored on. So, they've given up 3 points altogether. I'm sorry, 9 points altogether in their last 3 games in the fourth quarter, or in the second half, actually. In the fourth quarter, they've only given up 3 points. So, listen, that's winning football. You just need your offense now to pick it up, and perhaps this team could get a blowout victory if everything clicks on both sides of the field.
Well, speaking of the defense, we saw that they brought in Knighton and a bunch of other nose tackles for kind of a workout the past couple days. Are you surprised that they didn't sign anybody really? I know a guy went on practice squad, but we didn't really sign any, like a starter backup kind of player?
I have been. I have. He's been getting gashed every week right up the middle of the field.
Right.
I have been surprised. I'm surprised that Terrence Knighton wasn't signed, a while ago, considering we know that last year he was out of shape. That was obvious. But,
right.
He should be in shape now. But maybe there's a reason why the Patriots didn't keep him either. So tape doesn't lie. A lot of things show up that you see that maybe these guys not filling gaps or doing things of that nature. I think that they're going to see what they can do. Maybe, put tape over the cut and, put a Band-Aid over it and see how far they can go. Again, defense has done their part in the second half. You just want to see them come out and do better. You go back to last week against the Ravens. The Ravens came around and just ran the ball down their throat. And inexplicably, that's why Mark Trestman's not there today. He stopped running the football, which makes no sense. But to get back to your point, I am surprised that they haven't signed any guys in there to help shore up, which is clearly their biggest weakness on defense, right up in the middle of the field.
Right. Lake, I got a question about our running back situation. It seems like Rob Kelly's starting to get a little bit more burn. He's starting to get a couple more carries. He had that nice run that he got in the limited amount of carries he got. Do you think they're starting to really kind of work him into the offense? With Matt Jones being so inconsistent this year, do you think they're really trying to push Rob Kelly to start taking over? Is there any hot seat at all, or is this just like fan speculation?
Well, no. I think you guys see the same thing that I see, that other people see, and that's when Rob Kelly's in the game. It's just a different burst to his running, and we've seen that all the way back in going back to rookie minicamp. I was, who's this kid right here? Short little stubby kid. That's what I'm thinking. But this guy has some speed. He's got a little bit more wiggle than Matt. Matt is more of a north-south runner, and it takes a while for him to get going. Kelly is kind of a combo, in my opinion, of Matt Jones and Chris Thompson. So I think they're going to start doing it collectively. I think Chris Thompson should get more carries as well because he's given them a nice burst. And I think it's the type of offense that they run. We all know Deshaun McVay is I call him pass happy. I think he likes to pass the ball any chance he can get. So you need guys that are going to have a little bit more speed and guys that can make make more things happen in open space, and that's Chris Thompson and probably Robert Kelly. So I do think you're going to start seeing Kelly maybe get 6 touches against Philadelphia.
Okay. Another position battle I'd like to kind of ask about too is we've had Spencer Long filling in as the center these past couple weeks, and in my opinion, he's been doing pretty well actually. Do you think now they have John Sullivan on the roster now? Before Spencer Long started playing, it seemed like we want John Sullivan ready as soon as he can, but now we got Spencer Long, kind of overachieving right now. Do you think there's a rush still to put Sullivan out there, or are they going to just kind of let it ride with Spencer Long?
Yeah, I don't see a need right now to move Spencer out of there. And I know he had, the bad snap where, I think he probably missed the read count, just snapped it when they weren't expecting it. But at the end of the day, he's held his own. And the last 3 games, I mean, he's going up against some pretty good tackles. Cleveland needs to have some pretty good tackles on their team. Danny Shelton comes to mind. So last week I thought he did pretty well. And the irony is, when the Redskins want to run the football and make a consistent effort to do it, they're getting a push with their line. And in the second half last week, they actually started to run the ball directly into the teeth of the Ravens defense, which was impressive to me. And Spencer Long was leading that way. So
yeah, he was.
I'd like to see him in. I'd like to see him in there. I know that Doc Sullivan is a veteran. He's a solid player. But hey, you guys know just like I do. So sometimes when you bring in a player, it lights a fire under the person in front of them. And I think Spencer's starting to play with a little bit of an attitude right now.
And if anything, he's just a really good backup to have if worse comes to worse.
Absolutely. That's what I think. That's what that signing was actually more for. It goes back to when the team went out and signed the Patriots former center, and it didn't work out with him, Brian Stork, and it didn't work out with him. I don't know if that signing was specifically to move Corey Lichtensteiger out of that spot. I don't think that's what the situation was. I think that they had been grooming Spencer all along, and I actually think that's one of the reasons why they put Austin Reeder on the practice squad, where he ultimately got signed by Cleveland, because they do feel that confident that Spencer could be their, long-term solution at center.
Yeah. Like we know you're running out of time, but we can't let you get out of here without asking about Kirk Cousins. You know, we're week
We have
five.
to do it.
We're week 5 into the $20 million franchise tag contract. You know, the question on everybody's mind, of course, is whether or not he's going to eventually earn the big long-term contract from the Redskins. So, what's your thought on him after week 5?
Well, if he wants to get that money, he's going to have to step it up. He's struggling in a lot of areas right now. I mean, he's playing.
Definitely.
He's not being catastrophically bad. It's not that bad, and I don't think fans need to think that. But I do know from what I see, he's missing a lot of throws. He's missing a lot of reads too. This offense is set up and predicated so that there's always an open receiver. And what you guys see on TV at times, I'm seeing in practice, I'm seeing at the game itself. And not only are there guys open, there are guys that are so wide open that if he just looks across the field one more time, you're talking about an offense that could be putting up 500 yards a game easily. I mean, they're almost averaging 30 points. They could have hung 40 on a couple opponents this year if he's making those reads. And let's face it, he makes the right read in the Dallas game. This team's 4-1. So, you know, he's got a lot of work to do to earn that money and justify the $20 million that he's getting right now. I think he's justified it. But he did start slow last year, and he picked it up tremendously in the second half. And I think that's what the team's hoping happens, is that he starts to catch fire. And I actually wrote an article today, not to put a plug there, on the USA Today.
Oh, by all means.
Well, I put on Redskins at usatoday.com that I think this offense is due for a breakout game where they just put it all together. I'm not sure if it'll be this week against Philadelphia or maybe next week in Detroit, but I think that they're capable of having a game that was similar to last year's breakout game against the Saints. You remember that 47-14 win where they just, you know, had 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. I think that they're close to being able to have that game. Hopefully it could be this weekend. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay, so can we put you officially on the record as that being your prediction? You're locked into that?
Well, I'd rather give you a prediction that they're going to win the game.
That's fair. That's fair.
Game. I've been right the last 3 weeks, guys. So hopefully, you know, I'm on to something too. I have a 3-game winning streak myself. So
there you go.
I'm taking the Redskins in this game. I'll come up with an odd number. I'll take them 29-24 to win the game.
29. I don't know.
29-24.
29 is the final.
That's
Well,
beautiful.
nothing else that's going to stick out.
I just need the 5 points. That's all.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lake. You have been awesome, and we hope to have you back on the show. We'll be super respectful of your time. But you can catch Lake at Lake Lewis on Twitter, just like it sounds, LEWIS for sure. And obviously over at USA Today, Redskins Wire. Check him out. Great stuff. Thank you,
and
Lake.
apparently on ESPN
Thank you, Lake.
right before we record with him. So
Hell yeah.
let's not forget that.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate
Because they
it,
need
guys.
a plug at ESPN.
Right.
Good stuff. Well,
All right,
I
Lake,
appreciate
we'll
you
talk
having
to
me
you soon,
on,
man.
And, yeah, anytime. You guys do a great job. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one,
Absolutely.
Lake.
Okay.
He is
See,
awesome.
this is the point in time in which, you know, we'd have to go to commercial to, you know, after that big interview. But since we have no advertisers, we just need to keep taling.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Yes.
Yeah. Quick, somebody get a fucking sponsor. Hurry. We need a message from them.
Well, you know what I noticed is that on
Pollos Hermanos.
Rick Snyder's podcast, he's his own sponsor. Did you guys ever notice this
Yeah,
about
yeah,
his
his
show?
Monument Property, or not Monument Properties. What is it?
In the book, yeah.
Yeah.
It's his tours. It's the tour guide thing in the book. Yeah, he's his own. We're gonna have to do our own sponsorship. Maybe we'll just, you know, have a Hogsty commercial in the middle of the Hogsty show.
I'll
work on something.
I think Robbie and I might want to work on that off mic sometime, just a gag Hogsty commercial.
Yeah. That would actually. Oh, please do that. Now we have to do that. We have to deliver to listeners. All right. Well, shit, guys. We talked a lot about the game. Do we want to debrief a little bit of Lake Lewis right now before we let everybody go? Or, I mean, what do you think? It was a pretty awesome interview. He had some good
He
insights.
had a lot of good stuff. Yeah, he had tons of good insight.
Yeah.
He
Didn't sound
give
like
us any inside scoop on Sua, though, and that's what we were really
No.
banking on.
Well,
That's
yeah.
right.
Unfortunately, that's still kind of early. We'll have to, you know, update as we go.
Yeah.
As the week goes on. But My favorite thing that he said was, that he's been right these past 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that he's right again. I'd love to beat the Eagles.
That's right.
That's a weird score, though. I mean, getting to 29 points is a feat in football.
That's right.
You know.
So he went on the record. He said 29-24 Redskins. Should we add on to these predictions here with our own?
I think it's about that time in the show.
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay. I guess I suggested it, so I should jump on this grenade first, huh?
Yeah, yes, you should.
Because you always
right.
try to weasel your way out of being first. So
And sometimes I'm successful, but not today, I see. Okay. Well, let's see. To recap everything we said, this offense does not play to our defensive strengths. I foresee them scoring often and early. So I'm going to go with I'm going to have to disagree with Lake. Here I go disagreeing with the expert. I'm going to say the Eagles score 28 to a paltry sum of 10.
What a
that's and I think that, and let me just say, boo it up, but let me just say, I think this is my most pessimistic prediction ever. So it's not like it's a trend, okay?
We were having fun today, and good show. It was lively, and then you have to just go blow it all up.
Oh, it's going to happen, and
Sean.
this is knowing full well that we've won our last 3 matchups with them. So I think it's going to be a bad day. 28-10 Eagle.
I'm going to be positive, because I predicted in the beginning that this was going to be a win. I think that our offensive skills, our offensive talent can match up with the Eagles' defense. It is Carson Wentz on the road. He's not infallible. We talked forever about him, earlier in the show. I'm not afraid of him. I think we're going to end up winning this game, very close game, because that's what they all are. I'm going to go 24-21 Redskins.
Nice.
I kind of like where your head's at, Steve, but I'm gonna pull a Lake Lewis here and just pick a wild card score here. I think we saw some struggles in the kicking game last week due to the wind. I just looked it up. We're looking at pretty good weather for this game, which is great. I'm gonna go. It's gonna be a defensive game, low scoring. 16-13 Redskins.
I am surprised you guys all think this is going to be so low scoring.
I didn't say that. The all would be 1.
Yes.
Actually, you said 24.
I'm just very persuasive with my
24-21.
arguments and my sexy new voice and my new mic. So
yes, Alex Z is coming at you live.
Yeah, that's right. He's got a new mic. He's a new man. All right. Well, anyways, you heard it first. Those are our predictions.
Whoa.
We didn't. Oh my God, we didn't do our one expert.
One guy who actually might be right.
Excuse me. I'm gonna go stick my head in the oven, folks. Excuse me.
All righty. My take on this, it's going to be a battle. The Eagles have a really good defense. They got the second overall defense in total yards allowed, 266.8 as it stands.
Please agree with.
They're actually tied with the Ravens in that stat. The Ravens have the same amount that they've allowed total yardage wise. So what we're going to have to do is really create some turnovers on defense, and I predict that we'll actually get a couple of good ones. I think Josh Norman is going to have his really big game this week. I think he's going to get tested, and I think he's going to stand up to it. I think he's going to get an interception, a good interception that puts us in a good scoring situation. I'm going to predict a close win, 17-14 Redskins.
17-14? Nice.
All right.
Okay.
A little bit low. We'll take that. And by the way, just so everybody knows, since we had to work around Lake's schedule for this interview this week, it is too early in the week yet again for us to have any sort of injury report other than what we've already talked about. So we will tweet out whatever we hear about later in the week, and it will be in our written game preview, which will be out Thursday.
Right.
There you go. And in further news, ladies and gentlemen, we are fully aware we have an ongoing contest for a Crazy Neighbor story, and we have a winner to pick for that, so stay tuned, because I swear that's coming. We've been getting great submissions. Keep them coming. I promise we will pick a winner. You got a free shirt coming to you, so keep them going. We just can't stop. They've been so awesome. So with that, we will leave you. Have a great night, and we will see you soon here on the Hogstye. Take care.